What's crack like? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So we're back again. Once again, this time we're taking a look at, well, the current risers and fallers in lead up to the draft. So I think it's a fun list because some of these guys that are getting, picking up a little steam, they kind of make me want to scratch my head. But we'll get into it in a minute. Go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. We will have a live watch along all 3 days of the NFL draft, so be there for that. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's go ahead, let's dive into this sucker. I got Malcolm Koonce, the edge out of Buffalo, kind of first one picking up some steam. I mean, so much so that Mel Kiper has him like as a second rounder. Todd McShay I don't think is too far behind him, which kind of like puzzles me because he's a bit undersized, he's on the older side, and while he's put up decent production, I mean, he's been dominating lesser talent nonetheless there at Buffalo. He is a solid bull rusher. He's got a good bend around the edge, but really I look at him and I just feel like he's a passing down rusher only. He's okay against the run, but I think there's just other guys that are probably better suited for that job, which makes me believe he might be a rotation guy at the least, maybe even at the most. So I'm not that high on him. I'm surprised to hear him get late day 2 hype. On to Tutu Atwell. We all know he is going down. I mean, coming in weighing 149 is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. It makes you undraftable. He's currently day 2, mid day 2 on a lot of people's boards. I'm telling you, expect that to fall, expect that to drop. I mean, I love the guy as an athlete. He's an elite athlete. Speed, explosiveness, agility. It's just he doesn't take contact well. Like, you could literally blow on him and he will fall down. Which, I mean, okay, yes, good luck getting your hands on him, first of all, but when you do, it's like, he's nothing special. It's not like Rondale Moore, we're talking about. Size is going to be this guy's biggest concern. And I mean, looking at it, over a third of his catches were behind the line of scrimmage. So the guy doesn't run a lot of routes. He is the epitome of a gadget player. You're going to have to manufacture stuff for him. So I've dropped him pretty far. He's my wide receiver 25. Dropped him to the 6th round because you're really betting on he's kind of a unicorn in this draft. And then to that same token, I got Dwayne Eskridge a little bit higher than Tutu, but he's a guy that's picking up steam as a maybe a late day 2. And this is weird because even Alex from the Hail Mary podcast loves this guy, and me, I'm a bit I'm not on that. I'm not on that train. While I could acknowledge, man, dude's got blazing speed. He's really slippery off the line of scrimmage. He gives those in terms of how he gets off the line of scrimmage, very Tyreek Hill-esque. He's been a proven deep threat, but I mean, the dude didn't face anybody in this class, and where he really put his name on the map was the Senior Bowl. But coming from Western Michigan, he ran a very limited route tree, mainly just goes, posts, slants. Much like I said with Tutu Atwell, you could blow on him and he'll go down. Like, he just didn't handle contact well. I mean, drops were an issue at the Senior Bowl. They were an issue in 2017. But you can't really say that for a bulk of his tape. So, I mean, that's, really however you want to feel about it. But he's also going to be 24 years old by the time his rookie year starts. So, I just don't know how much of a game changer he really will be. But I think 5th round for him is somewhere I'm willing to take. So he'll probably go higher than that, but that's just how I feel, man. But he's picking up a lot of steam. His stock's definitely going up in the run up to the draft. And then Pete Werner is a guy that Jim Nagy, man, said he'd be like, he's getting 1st round hype. I don't know about that, but maybe in the 2nd round. I think there's a lot of potential there. This guy is definitely, the stock is going up, and which is it's like I'm not too far off that. Like, I say 4th round, I'd be willing to take him at the end of the 3rd. I got him as my linebacker 10. It's just, for me, his pro day test results it just didn't match what I necessarily saw on tape. Granted, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot there at Ohio State. That's just kind of what how the system they have ran. It's very linebacker friendly, but dude, solid, tremendous power. Just average in coverage though. Maybe a guy you'd rather have stick to the middle of the field than actually want to see like that. Actually, just asked to have like real movement, away from that. So he might be a guy that's just like he's gonna be phenomenal at stopping the run, but someone you just want to sit in the middle there. He was a 3-year starter there at Ohio State. Projects as a day one starter right off the bat. I just think he doesn't necessarily have a high ceiling, but then again, that testing tells me potentially otherwise. He's kind of a mixed bag for me right now, just because I just didn't expect that type of testing. Like, I think I probably had him in the 4th round area to begin with, and I just feel better about him there. But yeah, he's a guy that's it's picking up steam in our build up to the draft. And here's one that actually surprised me a ton. Drew Dalman out of Stanford. I saw like Daniel Jeremiah, like I think it was Mel Kiper, or like guys are putting him in day 2 discussion, and that's blown my mind. Like, I don't see it. Like, where's Drake Jackson's love? Where's his hype? Like, I think they're very similar prospects. Both are probably outside zone only centers. Probably both have very light anchors. I mean, both are barely cracking 300. And I would say that Jackson's actually the better athlete. Both these guys are at their best when they're on the move, but Dalman's nimble, but he is not the athlete I think Drake Jackson is. That's just how I feel about it. So it kind of blows my mind that he's starting to get all this hype. And then Ellerson Smith out of Northern Iowa, another one, early day 3 hype. I got him more in the 6th round just because he's strange. He's a very strange prospect because there's no real strength to his games. Some guys see him as an off-ball linebacker. I don't know about that. I still think I want to utilize him at edge, maybe more as a passing down guy that has some sick inside moves nonetheless. It's just, to me, he's a situational pass rusher that just needs a lot of development. So maybe early day 3. It's not terrible for some teams who want him there. I'm looking more at the end or the middle to the end of day 3. But that's a guy that is picking up steam. Another one that's starting to get like early day 2 hype is Ronnie Perkins out of Oklahoma, man. Like, straight up, he's a legit speed rusher, and he wins with lots of speed off the edge. I don't care what his pro day says. We saw it on tape, man. He be quick. Just ask Tevin Jenkins on that one rep. And that's the thing. When we look at him, his production, like a third of his pressures, over half of his sacks, all came against Kansas. But I mean, I will acknowledge, man, like the guy, for a lighter edge, he's pretty solid stopping the run. There's not much pop behind his hands. Like he can get stuck on blocks. Like if you go back to that rep against Tevin Jenkins, he very well could have got stuck on that block. He just happened to win the outside early, like real early. It was pretty weird. But I think part of that's because he converts speed to power pretty darn well. Does get some good low leverage, but still, to me, man, just with the questions about, for me, like in terms of where his production came from, it's not really questions. It's just I wish we saw it consistently and not just against one squad. For me, I feel better about him in the 3rd. And then actually a guy taking a hit currently, Terrace Marshall out of LSU, just because of the medicals. Let me pull this up real quick. Because some people are concerned about some lower leg injuries, which you could say actually the same with Azeez Ojulari. I didn't put him on this list because I think he's probably in that fringe first round limbo anyway. But there were some knee concerns that came out that really stemmed from high school, like that weren't a problem Like it happened his senior year of high school, but they weren't a problem after that. It was kind of wild. Like I don't get it. But for Marshall, what was it? During high school, he had a lower leg injury. Then his sophomore season, he missed 3 games with a stress fracture. There we go. Let's pronounce words. All right. So I'm assuming maybe he opted out, and that's something that got flagged. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he's a first round talent. Dude's got size. He's got speed. You really don't want to bet against those LSU receivers, especially the ones that they decide to put in the slot, because that's their star-making position. Huge catch radius. He was 25 of 41 on contested catches through 2 seasons, and I mean he's got some after the catch ability. It just drops kind of appeared in 2020 when he got more volume of passes. So maybe something. He could probably needs more polish as a route runner. He's likes to round those routes instead of having nice crisp breaks. But I think all in all, still very good prospect. I'm not scared away by any injury concerns. Just again, the only way I can see it is like if one popped up late from this season. So yeah, Hunter Long's picking up some hype, man. Some people moved him up to like tight end 3, tight end 3, tight end 2 in some cases in this draft class, which I think it's fair. You can make a case. I still feel better about him maybe at the end of the 3rd round or the beginning of the 4th, but he's starting to get some mid-day 2 hype, even sometimes early 2nd. He's just, for me, he's a prototypical type of tight end. He's got above average. He's an above average athlete. He's got the size for the position. He's got all right speed, but huge catch radius. He proved to be a real a downfield threat there at Boston College. Not very dynamic after the catch. Like, he really feels like a base model tight end in this class, but I think he could be a tight end 1 for some teams. One that's starting to finally lose some hype is Patrick Jones. I think teams are starting to come around to it. Now you're hearing him more talked about in day 3 in the build up to the draft here. And I think that could fall further, man. He's got the ideal frame, but his arms measured below average at the Senior Bowl. We could go into production, which I think if you're looking at his 2019 production, then you could be like, it's pretty impressive. But like 2017, 2018, and 2020, I wasn't impressed, man. He had a low win rate. His pressures didn't match his sacks. You kind of want those numbers to be, you at least want a lot of pressures, even if they're not getting necessarily a lot of sacks. Like, pressure tells me, okay, you're disruptive. He had one of the lowest win rates at the Senior Bowl on top of that, 11%. Like, he's just got a weak lower half, no pop in his hands, again, with suspect length. I just don't. Who would be excited to draft a guy like this? And I think the draft world's starting to feel that way. And then Eric Stokes picking up a lot of hype, and hey, I'm on board with that, especially with Caleb Farley, who I'll talk about a little later, kind of fallen. There's you have these 3 for sure first round corners, and I think it's kind of open who the 4th corner to potentially go in the first round is. And I've seen Eric Stokes' name thrown around with that. Like, the dude has some real speed, man. Former track star, dude. I just don't think he's entirely fluid as an athlete just yet. Not to say he isn't. Also, I think his ball skills a bit suspect. Because you could point to 4 interceptions this year, but they were some were overthrows, some were just miscommunications by the quarterback and the receiver. But I will say this, man, he's turning around to make plays on the ball, and I like to see that. So that tells me that ball skills can be there. It's, again, he's been asked to play a lot of press there, so, I mean, he was also often facing the number 2 compared to Tyson Campbell. But I feel better about, like, because Tyson Campbell, his agility, like, as far as it's tested, it's kind of scary, actually. But you know what? Stokes, he plays the catch point well. I think I'm down, man. I'm down. If you want to draft him in the first round, hey, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So, on to the other Georgia safety now. Or, well, not other safety, but other player. Richie LeCount the third out of Georgia. Picking up some hype now, early day 3 hype. I don't see it. I don't get it. His size, not great. Athleticism, it looks better on film, but not that much. He's more of a savvy safety there. He doesn't put himself in compromising positions. He's not going to hold up against the run, man. And I don't know if he's got the movement skills to really sit back there at safety. For me, he looks very similar to J.R. Reed. If you don't remember, it was his teammate from last year who went undrafted. I think those guys are very similar prospects. And if you want to comp, man, he's a less athletic Deontay Thompson, who was thought to be a second rounder, fell to the 5th. I could only imagine, man, look how he could fall a bit harder. There's not much to like there outside of his know-how. And then Keith Taylor has been currently a guy getting a little bit of hype recently, and he actually, Alex from the Hail Mary podcast, big fan of Keith Taylor. I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not there. He's got great length. It should translate to success. He just doesn't use it well. You can go back to the rep where Tylan Wallace, short-armed Tylan Wallace, mind you, just straight up beat him. His length meant nothing, dude. He just needs to be better at using that length. I think he played in a very zone happy scheme there at Washington. So he might be a press zone guy. I don't really know about his man skills. With that length, you gotta imagine he's got some. But no real ball skills to speak of. So I don't know. I think for a lot of guys, he could be a safe projection. So I mean, if you're going like 5th, 6th, I guess I can see it. And then Demetric Felton, man, he's on the downswing. Still, I'm gonna stick with him in the 4th as my running back 6. Just because like what he's done on the field, what he did at the Senior Bowl. But why is he falling? Because of his measurements, dude. Not just the measurements, how he tested out. Like, he only a 4.55. Short shuttle was in the 13th percentile. Broad, like, no explosiveness. Like, it's kind of concerning, you know. He might just be a slot only, unfortunately. But yeah, I could see him probably falling to the 5th, maybe even 6th, man. It's just testing like that, the NFL is not a big fan of. But hey, maybe they're going to be willing to take his Senior Bowl where he had a 62% win rate, dude. The guy was good. And he tested with the receivers. I just really like the idea of him as like this change of pace, scat back guy that I can possibly throw in the slot if I want to. I just like that versatility. And then this is a guy I just got on recently because someone mentioned him in my chat. So I was like, I'll go check him out. He actually popped up on Daniel Jeremiah's board. Brandon Stevens out of SMU. He is a grad transfer from the UCLA where he played running back. And then he made the move to corner the last 2 seasons there at SMU. And yo, straight up, man, limited experience, but great blend of size, athleticism, and length. He 4.43 was very impressive. 38 vert was aight, and the shuttle was okay as well. I like how physical he plays, and even though like a lot of his stuff needs work, who would have thought with being so raw? But I mean, at his size, you probably could put him at safety. So I think it's very interesting. I could definitely see him getting drafted. It's just he's a very raw prospect. And then Caleb Farley, I kind of mentioned earlier. Very, very surprised. No, I guess I'm not. I mean, okay. The back surgeries during the off season, during the opt out year. Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's the biggest question, dude, because he had ACL injury back in 2017. He did deal with back spasms in 2019, and then the recent surgeries, one is similar to what Tiger Woods got, which allowed him to come back early, but we kind of see the problems he's having now down the stretch. And with football being a more physical game, you got to wonder what that will do to Farley. So I get some teams are scared. Some teams, like, and I have him listed here as, like, some teams think he could fall in the second round. Like, they have him go. I've seen him go, like, in the third round on, like, he's just assumed to be a day 2 guy as of right now. But it's like, I get it. He's got the elite shutdown corner traits. I think some team will take a shot on that in the first round. It's hard not to. Size, length, athleticism, just high-end speed, great closing speed. Sorry, man. I'm still in the process of waking up, so should get Folgers in my cup. Oh, but yeah, and honestly, 1 year wonder, like, his 2019 was a huge step up from 2018, and then not going to be able to see him kind of replicate that in 2020. I mean, I'm still willing to take a shot in the first round. But it'll be interesting to see if he falls and maybe a guy like Eric Stokes or even if Fatu Melifonwu jumps him. And I could have easily included Elijah Vera Tucker as a riser, but how much of a riser? Like, I've seen him now kind of pushing the top 20 discussion, and I kind of expected him going the 20 to 30 range. So going to the top 20, that's not that big of a jump. I kind of wanted to see these guys that I was really like, wow, I'm shocked that people see them going this high. And my final guy on the list, actually, a lot of people really like Shawn Davis. Chris Sims, man. I think he was his safety 6. Just kind of wild. But how I feel about him, like, he's just your basic box safety, in my opinion. He's really good coming downhill. He's got some ups to play deep. We kind of saw that at the Senior Bowl, but like, his movement skills suck, dude. Like, ladder, like I said, he's a downhill guy, which just screams box. And even worse, he needs to clean up as a tackler. So even as a box safety, there's some things he needs to work on. But he was just so bad in coverage at the Senior Bowl. I was like, I wasn't really impressed with neither of the safeties from Florida during the season. And like, Davis came in and I was just like, yeah, he just feels like just another guy in this draft. I'm not excited about him, but I've seen him go. A lot of people talk about him maybe 4th, 5th round, which I'm like, that's a little high for my taste, obviously, since I got him in the 7th. But he is a guy picking up steam. So let me know where some guys you think are raising their stock in the build-up of the draft. I'm looking at you, Mac Jones. How you become number 3? How? Why, Sway? But till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.